Sabres lose ground to Detroit, but get a big win against the Kraken. Is a playoff push still going on? We'll talk about that after this. What's up and welcome to the Sabres Edge podcast presented by Nickel City Mafia. If you'd like, please comment, subscribe, and like this post and share it to anyone that you do know while the Sabres are making this playoff push. And my name is Top Shelf Timmy Corks and my co-host, Sammy Saucy Mitts.
Hello.
Sammy, what's going on, my man?
Not much. Just been a relatively good week for both me and our Sabres. Obviously, you'd hate to see the loss against Detroit. That we'll get into that. But I mean, I got to eat an all buffalo meal today of chicken wings and beef on wax. So that was lovely.
Oh, wow.
And then in true Buffalo fashion, the snow out is pretty bad. It doesn't feel that bad, but the driving conditions are quite bad. I was driving 400 and then the 90 up to Amherst from the South Towns, and there were two pretty bad accidents on the way. So if you guys are in the area, try and stay in if you can. Otherwise, you might have some tough road ahead.
It's kind of crazy. We haven't got hit with the snow yet up here in Maine. I was checking the weather. Doesn't look like we'll be getting it. It's going to be kind of rainy towards the end of the week. But it's also crazy that last week when I was in Philadelphia, it was getting up to 80 degrees and I was running outside in shorts and a t-shirt feeling completely fine. Yeah. Good old Buffalo still getting snow. So yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the games, but I still want to talk about that intro. So I was thinking about kind of what we were talking about last week. Are there any because most of those highlights are from last year.
Yeah. So actually, Mike commented on our last video.
Okay.
In the YouTube comment section, and he says we can certainly update the footage. So yeah, all of that is from last year. All of that video is from last year. As we're approaching the end of this year, it might make sense to get some new clips in there. I'm sure we can work on that.
I think we talked about this last week. I'm trying to think of what are the highlights for the season.
Well, obviously, Benson's first goal that was legendary. Probably Greenway trucking someone. He's done that a few times this year. Some Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen saves, and I don't know, maybe that Thompson shot from the Kraken game, because I had to watch that 8 times to make sure that it did in fact go in the net. Because to me and my unadapted eyes, I was sure it hit the crossbar every time I watched the replay. I'm like, that didn't go in.
Yeah.
Alas, it went in, and it was just such a fast shot that I couldn't see it. But
so, Sam, what you're telling me is we're going to have a pretty short intro for next season when we start up the show. So I was trying to think, what do we do? Do we do Eric Robinson's goal in his first game? And
yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there are some good clips. There have been some moments that have got me off my feet that were very fun this year. I just don't necessarily remember them at the moment. Also, I think it'd be funny to put a phantom Zach Benson penalty in there.
Phantom Zach Benson penalty.
I feel like that's classic to the season we've been having so far. So,
also, Darlene had that nice pass against the Islanders game where he passed it up to Benson. I mean, that was a pretty good highlight too, right?
Yeah.
because he also had like that bomb last year. I forget, it's Dylan Cousins. What game was that? Was that the Ryan?
That was
Miller
the Ryan Miller night, because
yeah.
there was great goaltending on both sides. I remember that.
Yeah. So I guess we can put some highlights in there for next year. Mike, you don't have to do it this year. I mean, we'll save it for next year. Talking about the Sabres, so we'll get on to the games. So we had 3 games since we last seen you. The Sabres shut out the Islanders 4-0. Followed by that, they had a 4-1 loss to the Red Wings, the game most needed in this. And that one stuck a little bit of a thorn in me. I'm sure I'll talk about that one more. And then we also, last night, if you stayed up late, like Sam and Mike, who's on the West Coast, but they won 6-2 in that game. So, Sam, what are your thoughts on those 3 games?
Obviously disappointing to lose to the Red Wings, right? Let's just get that out of the way. I'm not happy about that. That was a very tough loss. It really did feel like it killed some of the momentum that we had. But we got some help. We got some help around the league, and we're still not that far out of it. We still do have a chance. I believe the last time I checked, it was like 7.5% chance. So that didn't kill it. The other thing that helps us is the fact that I don't think we're chasing the Red Wings anymore. They're not the team that is the team to beat to get into the playoffs. They have sunk very far. Right now, the Capitals have the current wildcard spot. We still face them twice. I think that they might actually pass the Flyers. I think that's a very possible outcome, in which case we actually face the Flyers as well. So we have some important games still to come. Obviously, you need to win the games that aren't divisional games like the ones we have now against the Kraken, which we did, the Canucks later tonight, the Oilers, the Flames, the Senators. Like, those are games that are must win. But when it comes down to the wire, if we're facing the Capitals on April 2nd and we still have a chance, that's going to be a game that is non-negotiable, and you will absolutely win. So ultimately, the Detroit one sucks, but I think that you can give it up because that's no longer the team that you're really chasing anymore.
Is that last Capitals game, is that at home?
Or
is it away?
The April 11th Capitals game is actually they're both at home.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we've got 2 Capital games at home in our final 7 games. So
wow. We played Dallas again pretty late into the season too on April 9th. Interesting. A Western Conference team that late into the season. Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. Yeah, the Sabres got a stretch going on right here. I think Ryan Whitney put it best when he talked about it on Spittin' Chicklets, is that this playoff push, this playoff race right now, is just a bunch of pathetic teams just trying to make it into the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. The Sabres should not have a chance right now to make the playoffs. They shouldn't. But the reality is the Red Wings were nice enough to go on a 7-game losing streak, giving all of these teams that really shouldn't have a chance. The Capitals suck this year. Let me get
they're terrible.
That is a terrible team that has currently found themselves in the wild card spot. If I pull up their goal differential is -27.
Yeah.
That's a terrible team.
They're celebrating every goal Ovechkin scores now at this point as he's getting closer to Gretzky.
Yeah, that was honestly like the big thing that they had going for them this year. Was like, yeah, their team might suck, but at least we can watch Ovechkin kind of chase the Gretzky thing. And now here they are a couple of weeks from the end of the season, and they might make it. They're honestly probably at this point favored to make the wild card spot. They might take their divisional spot because the Flyers are on a 2-game losing streak and the Capitals have a game in hand on them.
Yeah. And the Capitals were sellers at the deadline.
Yeah.
They traded their best player.
If we go down the line, we have the Red Wings, who aren't a complete team without Dylan Larkin. We have the Sabres, who have struggled all year with inconsistency. We have the Flyers, who are probably overperforming under Tortorella. The Capitals, who were sellers at the deadline, who underperformed through the entire year. The Islanders, who are literally just Ilya Sorokin and nobody else. The Penguins, who were sellers, who age finally caught up to. The Devils, who regressed to like the absolute rock bottom of the league. That is the playoff race right now for our final wild card spot. It's embarrassing, but it gives us a chance. And a chance is all we need.
A chance is all we need. Yeah, that's right. And, the Sabres, they did take advantage of their time last week where they came off both Detroit coming off a West Coast trip and the Islanders coming off the West Coast trip and won those games. But the game that really mattered this weekend against Detroit, I know you said we're chasing the Flyers, but they blew that game. And as expected, the Sabres did not show up again for a big game. And that, I don't care about the 2 win. I mean, the Islanders win, that's great. I mean, I think when the 2 teams that you face back-to-back in Detroit, who's missing Larkin, who's the key to that team, comes off a West Coast trip, and you blow them out, and then you blow out the Islanders that are coming off a West Coast trip too. Then you come back to Detroit, play them at home in the biggest game you probably have. I think it's been the biggest game of the season so far. And you blow it, and you don't show up. And this is where I talk again. This team is just not a serious team. This team does not get it at all. I'm sorry. I hate to be negative on this team, but like I said, I'm going to say this conversation again, but I don't want them taking this momentum into the offseason making this like, well, we'll build off of this type of thing.
Right.
It's like, no, this is pathetic. The season was pathetic. I will not forget the beginning of the season where you had to go down 2-3-0 in the first period and try to chase your way back. And I don't know. I mean, I'm growing my playoff push beard right now. This is what this is, Sam. So it's
lovely.
For Buffalo's sake, for the fans' sake, I do want the Sabres to make the playoffs. But for the team and organization's sake, I don't. Does that make any sense at all?
I understand what you're saying. I think you're too pessimistic, though. Just be happy if we make the playoffs. Obviously, if we don't, then we riot. We fire everyone, whatever. But if we make the playoffs, you know what? Yeah. I would be okay with them giving me we can build on this. Because guess what? Man. Again, it's actually building on something because they haven't made the playoffs in the majority of my life. So,
yeah. I guess, I'm spoiled by the 05, 06, 06, 07 Sabres. Those were the teams those are the standard for me.
Yeah, and that's fair.
When that's the standard, this team is not very far from it. So, no, it's conflicting for me because I'm a huge Sabres fan, but in reality, I've stated my case about the coaching, about the GM. Things need to be changed this offseason. And I think Kevin Adams did make a good trade in the Byram trade. Without a doubt, that's looking good right now. We'll see into next season. But no, the coaching though is still something that's the one that really sticks to me right now. Yeah. So I'm not gonna hamper on it too much, baby. I'll say that now. I'll probably talk about it later in this show. Yeah. But the Sabres do have a big game tonight coming up against Vancouver that we're leading you guys into that. Vancouver previously to they're on a 2-game losing streak right now.
Okay. And I hear that they're not playing Demko tonight, although we're not playing UPL, so it might be a high-scoring affair.
Yeah, or if Levi shows up. So, he made the trip west. Some people are conflicted about why Levi's out there. Maybe he should have stayed in the Amber.
Well, we can talk about that because I have some stuff pulled up. We can talk about that later, but
yeah. But no. If Levi's playing, he's been hot in the Amber, so it should. If you don't fully rely on the goaltending, play a little bit of defense because the Vancouver team, they lead their division with 92 points, and this is a serious playoff team this year. So you got to show up. This is another big game. Does this team show up tonight after the game that they had the other night? So yeah, let's go to the chat real quick. So
radio.
Mike's on here. Playoff push talks. Love to hear that, Mike. Thanks again for supporting the show. 716 moves. So this is your dad. He keeps on changing his name. I know that. It's a logo. I think we're chasing the Flyers. 716 moves. Do you know what that means?
Obviously 716 is the area code, and moves it's they do real estate, so moves could be a reference to like moving homes, or they could just be making moves, they could just have some great moves.
Sabres. Yeah,
my parents have the best moves. So
and then we got Doge AMC Warriors #Moon,
which we haven't seen them around on our live shows before. So welcome, thanks for showing up and chatting. Do you actually, Timmy, do you know a very important fact about Doge AMC Warriors #Moon?
I know the AMC part has to do with Diamond Hands back during 2020, right? During the stock time, Doge.
Yeah, like it's definitely Doge AMC and #Moon are definitely like stonks.
Yeah, the Warriors part, not sure.
I know, but do you know a very important fact about this specific person?
No, I don't.
They are a very big Jordan Greenway fan.
You know this person?
No. But they commented on our last video on the replay on it, and they said, "Let's go Buffalo. Love number 12 Greenway. ... Playoffs heart." And we appreciate that. We appreciate you coming in and commenting after our shows.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming on. And yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't look on the comments of the show.
Timmy. we got to stay engaged with the people.
Sam, that's your job.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you. And huge Greenway fan. I mean, Greenway actually has been having a pretty decent season.
No complaints from me.
He's made every line that he's played on, definitely leveled them up to, I wouldn't say that they're way better, but he's definitely made every line he's played with better. And just to have him on the penalty kill too is pretty awesome as well. So he's definitely like your solid, only tweener, third line, second line type of guy that could fill in roles. So yeah. And then Mike, he agrees with me. Sabres make the playoffs. Everyone is going to give Granato a pass because he finally broke the streak. In any case, I want them to make the playoffs, but I don't want Granato back. I totally agree, Mike. That's my point. So yeah, I don't really know. Was there anything else? I mean, the Detroit game obviously is the one that stood out to me the most. Was there anything that also stood out to you at all? I know.
Well, obviously, we had a very big event that happened during the Kraken game. Jeff Skinner got his third ham trick as a Sabre. So that's great for him. I have some Jeff Skinner stats pulled up because during the game, they mentioned that Jeff Skinner scored his 24th goal as the final goal of that hat trick. And I was sitting there, I'm like, we this whole time have unanimously agreed that this has been a down year for Jeff Skinner. This has not felt like a great year for Jeff Skinner. And he's got 24 goals. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. One thing that we do harp on a lot, though, is, yeah, sure, he might have 24 goals, but one, he's paid a lot, which, you can have that debate whether or not it really matters right now for our team. And then two, he doesn't play defense.
That's the more important.
So I want to play a game with you right now. Jeff Skinner in 61 games has 45 points this season.
Yep.
What do you think his plus minus is?
+4.
Now, are you only saying +4 because you think it's a trick question and you would have otherwise said like minus in a vacuum?
Yes.
Or okay. I'm just clearing that up because he is +2 right now.
Yeah.
And that surprised me a lot. I was looking at his stats. I'm like, look at that. Jeff Skinner this year is a positive. I don't think anyone, if asked that question, would have thought that was the case. Obviously, unless they're put in a situation like this where there's an obvious subversion of your expectations that's about to happen. But yeah, it's kind of shocking that Jeff Skinner is a plus at 31 years old on what has really been a bad Sabres team.
Now, is it plus because of just the situation that he plays where he's really only on for 5-on-5 and that's when the Sabres are the best? Because I feel like like we had this conversation. Plus minus is a very manipulative stat because he's not playing a lot. Well, I guess he plays a power play, but he doesn't really play penalty kill. And I am surprised though because that top line has been just absolutely garbage all this year. So
okay, well, we can agree that of the top line people, probably like Alex Tuch is the best defensively. He plays on the penalty kill. He has to be good defensively, right? Well, what's his plus minus?
-7.
No, it's actually +1.
Okay.
So it's, playing on a line with him or actually he hasn't really been playing much with Tuch and Thompson. So I'm more impressed that there's probably a fair amount of people who are.
Do you know who's the double-digit team plus minus guy on the team?
Of course, it's Henry Yokiharu.
Of course, yes, of course.
Henry Yokiharu has silently been like really good for us this season, and I have said it over and over again during these podcasts, kind of during the middle of the year, that it doesn't make sense that we're scratching Henry Yokiharu because he's better than a lot of the players that we're putting out there, whether it be Eric Johnson at the time or Connor Clifton or at the time we were complaining about Power and Samuelson.
Yeah.
And all that time, Yokiharu was better.
It's crazy because Granato was asked about that, and he said, "Yeah, I would get after him to make his game. I mean, make his game better. That he had more to his game." It's like, oh, what about the other guys on the team too? Right. Can you talk to those guys at all?
Obviously, he's kind of finding his stride now, but that was a tough stretch of games where we were like, why don't you just put the best defenseman out there? Like, why don't you just play your best lineups, Don? And we had some harsh words to say about him back then, but Henry Yokiharu has been silently very good for us this year. And that's nice. I see we actually have a lot of chats coming in, so we should take a moment to look at that before we get back into some of the stats stuff.
Yeah.
But Timmy, not engaged in the comments. We need to talk. The big contract he got clearly stipulates checking the comments. Timmy, you are falling behind on what you need to do. Your responsibilities are being neglected.
I know. I'm sorry. I can be better. I'll start checking the comments. I did see the one conveniently a couple weeks ago. Usually it's Jake commenting on there, and Jake said I looked like Chris Long, and that just made my day. I was like, I don't need to look at any more comments like this.
You're like, you know what? We did it. Perfect. Yeah. No more comments needed.
I'm done reading after that one, even though that's my best friend saying that to me. So,
yeah. Doge says, glad to see you boys live again. Love the engagement, friends. And yeah, it's fun being live. I like the fact that we get to talk to you guys about the Sabres rather than just talking to the void about it. It's nice to have a conversation. We get to get your inputs. Like when you say, Greenway, 6'6", big boy, skilled and tough player. We needed a big fella. And I could not agree more. He's been the big guy that you wanted and also not sacrificing the skill that I stipulate when I say I need a big guy. So it's been that perfect
compromise.
Yeah.
How many years left does he have? Do you know?
I think he's got one more year, and then he's up for a new contract. But
all right. I mean, he's been playing solid, so guy that I would like to keep around. We don't really.
Yeah.
When you think about it, what is it? It's Strubek, Strubek is the only one. Strubek.
Yeah.
He's the only other guy that really fits that mold, right?
Yeah, I don't know. He's a defenseman as well, though. So.
Oh no. Who's the other? Who do I talk
about?
Wahlberg. Yeah. He's the only guy really in the other. Well, that has like NHL potential. So
right. Yeah.
That's my bedtime alarm going off. Everybody.
it's well past Timmy's bedtime. Be grateful that he's doing this for you. Mike, I think in reference to Jeff Skinner earlier, says he's a 30-goal scorer and has a chance to get there. Yeah, that was the surprising thing for me because it's felt like a down year. And here he is. He's got a very real chance at hitting 30 goals this year. So good on him. Like, that's better than I would have expected.
Yeah.
Doge saying, not a fan of the head coach, but we're stuck with him till the end of the season. Yeah, that's kind of seeming like what it is this year. And I think we both agree that there haven't been many great options for mid-season changes. until we both decided that we'd probably take Ruff over him. But other than that, there haven't been too many guys where they've been fired and we've been like, that's definitely someone we should go after. So yeah, looks like he's the guy until the end of the year, and maybe we can do a more comprehensive coaching search afterwards.
Could you imagine a team firing a coach in the middle of a playoff push?
That'd be honestly that would be an all-time Sabres move.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, we're pushing for the playoffs right now, but we're going to fire the coach in the middle of it and bring in a new coach with a whole different system. That makes a lot of sense.
We've got some acknowledgments of us. So hi, Timmy. Hi, Sammy. Hello, Moon. It's not Doge. I feel like Doge is the proper way to shorten that.
Doge. That's what I call my dog. I go, what's up, Doge? She recognizes that. But Doge, if you haven't been to our channel before, I'm not sure if you've been onto the other Nicholas and the Mafia ones. Join our Discord too. We do have that big Stitch drawing going on.
That ended. Tom Gallagher boy was the lucky winner. So congratulations to you. Yep.
I thought it was the 17th.
It's the 19th right now.
Oh my God, it is the 19th. Holy crikes. I'm sorry.
Timmy's living in a different year.
I've been working hard.
Yeah, you had that business trip. We understand. It's
business trip and working 12-hour shifts.
Yeah,
this is fun.
It happens.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, still join a Discord and get in to
we talk about the Sabres there when there's live games happening. You know, we post stuff. So yeah, you can engage more with us there. Mike saying that Skinner was a +15 last year and a +2 this year, so we might want to rethink our bashing of his defensive side of the game. That's fair. Maybe he's secretly a defensive stalwart. No. He is actually okay. He's like pretty lazy in his own zone, but he does a good job of breaking up in the neutral zone kind of stealthily. He's good at like lifting sticks and intercepting passes, but once it's actually in his zone, he's not willing to do many like puck battles. So it feels worse than maybe his actual impact is. But yeah, I'm not going to stop bashing his defensive game.
The guy is almost at 1,000 games and hasn't made a playoff game. That's all I'm going to say with that. There's a common thread there.
That's harsh, but true. That is true.
I'm sorry. He's just not good. He doesn't care about defensive hockey. I mean, you can be that way if you're like prime Patty Kane. That's pretty much it. You can pass and you can shoot. The guy can't pass either. So sorry. Keep on going.
We got Bill's Bunker in here. We got Mike acknowledging your bedtime alarm, saying that's a classic.
I mean, it's a good reminder. I mean, it's better than the wake up alarm than wake up alarm. I mean, everyone gets shook when you hear that song.
Oh,
so
yeah.
When they put their alarms on, you're just like, ugh.
I play that noise outside of my roommates' bedrooms just to annoy them in the morning because I am evil. But
yeah, that's pretty bad. I don't know if I would be your roommate after that.
No one. Surprisingly, I can't keep them for more than a year. Anyway, Mike saying that St. Patrick's Day did you in, and that's why you're forgetting the days.
I mean, I actually did not celebrate St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, you're not a big drinker.
I don't drink at all. Just Liquid Death sponsor us.
Yeah.
A nice seltzer water with a good taste to it.
Hashtag not sponsored, but wish we were.
Yeah, would be a great sponsor. No, and I mean, I don't think Maine really does. Like the Buffalo just goes all in on St. Patty's Day. You got first war parade, then you got the city parade, and then it's intense. Maine, on the other hand, I don't think they really did anything up here. I don't know what a majority of New Englanders are, to be honest with you. It's not Irish, I'll tell you that. Other question, though. Where did you get your wings and where did you get your beef on weck from?
So it was from in East Aurora, Maine and Hamlin. It's across the street from the bar bill there. And apparently it was, I believe, created by some ex-Barbill employees who had some they had some issues with the management. And so they went across the street and they created their own basically Barbill.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about them. How is it? Does it taste the same?
Well, it was my first time having them, and yeah, it's mostly the same, and it's pretty freaking good. You cannot go wrong with Barbill wings. So the Maine and Hamlin guys, really you can't go wrong with that either.
Because I heard about them back when I was home in September. I saw that, and my sister was telling me, "Oh yeah, that's former barbell guys. They catch most of the overflow that people can't get into barbells, just end up going over there." But I guess now it's equally busy. They're both equally busy at this point, so it's crazy.
Yeah, but good wings. So if you guys ever get the chance and you want to try it, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, in other hockey news, Sam, if you want to go over. I don't know if there's anything you want to go over specifically, but did you want to hop into like the Levi conversation going on in the articles that you read?
Yeah, so it's not actually an article that I read, but just a point that I thought would be brought up because I've heard some people talking about Eric Comrie getting leaped by our AHL goaltender for the back-to-back instead of, actually being the backup. And there's a good reason for that, I think. If you look at Eric Comrie's stats for the year, they are not exactly great. He has 9 starts, 1 win, and 7 losses.
Rough.
So obviously at one point he was pulled, and some other poor goalie got the official loss for that. I think that was the New Jersey game a while ago. And
how does that work? Do you know how that works? Do they, if you get scored on as a backup goaltender, then you take that L, or
it has to do with current score when you're put in, I think. So like maybe it's the number of goals. So like if he let in 7 or like 3 or whatever, and then Luukkonen lets in 4, then it's Luukkonen's loss, maybe. I don't know. It's something dumb like that. It might be like if it's 3-1 when Luukkonen comes in and then we score 2 goals to make it 3-3 and we still lose, then it's Luukkonen's loss. It might be something like that.
Yeah, because I thought if it's a tie and then the backup goaltender lets in goal, then it's their loss. I mean,
I think that might be it.
Because that's how baseball works. Baseball works is whoever had the losing score or gave up the losing score gets the loss.
That's probably it. Where if Luukkonen lets in 1 goal, but it's the 4th one and we lose 4-3, then we give the loss to Luukkonen, which feels unfair, but whatever.
Okay.
Well, we'll say that for all intents and purposes that Eric Comrie is actually 1-8 for his the games that he's played in.
Yeah.
Sporting a 3.91 goals against average and an 8.64 save percentage, as opposed to Devin Levi, who has 19 starts and he's 9-7-2, so that's actually above 500. Yeah. And he has a 3.3 goals against average and an 8.91 save percentage, which is not good. Don't get me wrong; those aren't good numbers. But having Levi in net means you have someone you can win with at least. He gives you a fighting chance. It's not a good chance, but we've actually won more with him than we've lost, or we've gotten more points than like 500. Obviously, it's actually like we lost 9, won 9, but with the 2 overtimes, it's pretty even. So, that's if the team is signaling that, hey, we're going to make an actual push for it. Eric Comrie should not play a single game because you cannot win with him in net.
Especially
that's the unfortunate truth of it. So anyone who's out there being like, why would you take Levi away from the Amherst when they're in the middle of their push and it's better to give Levi the opportunity to play more games? Ultimately, the Amherst are a feeder team. Their success, well, albeit is nice, is secondary to the Sabres. And if the Sabres are in a playoff push right now, you are not playing Eric Comrie for a single game because you can mark that on your calendar as a automatic loss.
No, I totally agree. I mean, if you're going to make a serious playoff push, you're not putting Comrie in that. That's basically just sending out a white flag, being we're giving up. Especially if your plan was to play the backup goalie against Vancouver. I can't imagine the shellacking that the Comrie would get against Vancouver. But the other conversation I was thinking was, did you think it was the right move to play UPL against the Kraken and play Levi against Vancouver, or vice versa? Because I was leaning more towards the vice versa. Play Levi against like the worst team, and then give UPL the better team to play against, because you kind of want to have your best stars on the ice against the better team. What are your thoughts?
Well, at the end of the day, as we're looking at the schedule,
14 games.
You can afford to maybe lose like 1 or 2 games.
Oof.
And obviously, you don't want to be scheduling losses. But if there's a team that's going to be extra hard to beat, it's going to be the Canucks. And looking down the line, it's going to be like the Oilers, and it's going to be Florida. Those are probably the 3 games. I'm not too sure about Dallas. Dallas is one that feels more winnable than these 3 games. And we even beat the Oilers the last time out, right? So that's obviously all subjective, whatever. And play the games, see how they go. But if you have a back-to-back and you have to play them, each of the goalies, one for each night, and one of them is against one of those teams that maybe is a scheduled loss, play your goalie that you know you're going to win with against the team that's maybe easier to guarantee that win. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen had to play well in that game. I know 6-2 loss looks like a blowout on paper. They outchanced us that game.
Yep.
So, yeah, we scored a lot. We had good finishing, but Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen had to play well. And again, that's against a team that's sliding. They haven't been able to finish well, but now you go in and you've guaranteed that win. That's good. You have the points. Now you're facing Vancouver in the back-to-back. You're tired because it's a back-to-back. You're tired because you're on a road trip. This has just as much as I don't like to say it, because you'd hope that the team goes out and plays hard every single night, this has, for the rest of our schedule, the most likely loss written all over it. Why would you risk another loss playing Levi against the Kraken is the way I think about it. But obviously, again, play the game hard tonight. Do as much as you can to get the win. And if it turns out and you win that game, even better. If it's close and we lose because of Levi, I'll eat crow. But there's nothing you could have done to predict that would be the outcome. So I'm okay with the move. Ultimately, I don't think it matters too much, but I would have probably done it the same way.
I honestly would have just rolled with the goaltender. I would just been ride UPL out. I mean, this guy should just be getting every big game until they're out of the playoffs. That's my thoughts. I mean, go back to the old late 90s. Dominic Hasek just seeing every single game. Dwayne Rolson not getting there. Used to be rare back in the day when a goalie didn't play. Players much softer these days. I agree with you, Mike, there.
Listen, at the end of the day, stats have shown that when a goalie gets rest occasionally, it's helpful to them. So I don't think that a goalie should be playing 82 games.
Build a callus.
Oh, Timmy. I don't want to get UPL killed out there. I don't want to overwork him, because you know what the worst outcome for our season would be? If he played again tonight and got injured because of overexertion, and then all of a sudden, we don't have any chance of making the playoffs because our playoff hopes are basically on UPL's backs right now anyway.
Mike's going after the stat man right now. Don't believe everything you read,
Sammy. I don't know. This one feels more sound because it's not comparing goalies who did to goalies who didn't. It's comparing goalies to themselves based on how many how their workload goes. So I don't know. You can believe what you want, but I don't think that I'm not a huge fan of running goalies in back-to-back situations, especially if you have a backup goalie who's at least serviceable. If you're one of those teams that really doesn't have a backup goalie, or you have literally the best goalie in the world, like if you have a Connor Hellebuck or an Ilya Sorokin, yeah, okay, fine, run them back-to-back. If you have UC Saros, fine. And honestly, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is maybe making his way into that conversation where, he should play most, if not every game, unless he's telling you otherwise. But for now, yeah, I think we should play our backups on back-to-back games.
No, I agree with you more on when it comes to playing your backup goalie. I think nowadays having your goaltender play back-to-back games is very rarely seen. No, I agree fully with that. The NHL is definitely different nowadays. You don't have the same goaltenders like you did back then. And like you said, there's a lot more science, statistics that they put back into these goaltenders and players as well. So playing them back to backs a lot, especially after that. Yeah, like you said, last night's game, the Kraken really had more outchanced us more. They had better shots on net, and UPL had to work hard to get that win for the team because UPL is carrying the team on his back.
I mean, that was kind of more of a Joey Decord loss for them, but Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen still had to play very well.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's fine. I mean, we got to see what Levi's made out of too. I mean, he's a good goaltender. He's a good goaltending prospect. Show what you can do. He did it last year. He popped out of college and played pretty well for the last 7 games. So, yeah. We'll go back to this chat too. If the Sabres make playoffs, if they beat the Florida Panthers.
I think it's a kind of 2-part. If the Sabres make the playoffs, if they beat the Florida Panthers, we winning the Stanley Cup for RJ. I think maybe this is more of a statement in the second part, but well, we can start with the first thing. If we make the playoffs, do you think we stand a chance against Florida?
Hell to the no. I mean, no, Florida is literally a juggernaut this year. They have a Stanley Cup experience from last year. They're hungry from last season. I mean, it would take a lot for the Florida Panthers to lose to the Buffalo Sabres. I'll say that. And that would have to be, and know what that would be, Sam? UPL.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen?
Yes. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. He would be the reason why the Sabres would beat the Panthers. He would be the reason why the Sabres would win the Stanley Cup. Because at the end of the day, once you enter the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's about goaltending at the end of the day. Look at the Vegas Golden Knights last year. Their backup goaltender won them a Stanley Cup. The New Jersey Devils? Who was their goaltender last year in the playoffs?
Akira Schmid.
Yeah. This guy came out of nowhere and had a solid playoff run, and he basically almost dragged that team into the Stanley Cup playoffs too. So at the end of the day, it's goaltending. And right now we have the best goaltender in the league. So you know what? After me saying hell to the no, I'll say hell to the maybe no.
Okay. Goaltending is of the utmost importance in the playoffs. However, the Florida Panthers right now are playing like an elite playoff team. They play a playoff style of hockey. Yep. They bruise you up. They score goals. They can lock you down on defense. The Sabres play half-hearted. So I think just
the wins.
I think we would get thrashed against the Panthers. I don't think it would be much of a close contest. However, if you make it out of a series with the Panthers, I think you're probably mostly favored to win the cup because that's the team. The Panthers right now, I believe, are the team that are going to win the cup. So
do we have Panthers run like last year? You beat the best team in the first round, you work your way up.
Cinderella run. Let's do it.
They did it last year. The Sabres could do it this year, but the Sabres need to learn to start scoring. I mean, maybe this last game with Tuck, Thompson, and Skinner scoring goals, maybe that can awaken them up. I mean, something has to get this line. Well, I know they don't play on the same line now.
Yeah, they aren't on the same line. And as you were saying earlier, Greenway making every line that he's on better. That was Skinner was playing with Greenway and I believe Benson? Yep. Greenway and Benson, I want to say. Mm-hmm. So, once again, he's making his lines much better and providing a little scoring to them. So,
yeah. I mean, like you said, never say never, but you know what? I've been negging this team, and if I keep on negging this team, maybe they'll do something. So I'm gonna just keep on negging them, Sam.
Yeah.
But I'm growing off my playoff push beard right now, and if the Sabres make the playoffs, I'll still keep on growing this beard until they lose. How about that?
Mike also points out that the Stanley Cup remains the only North American sport that has never been won by a wild card team. Always a first.
Interesting.
And I think this is going to be the first year because the Sabres are going all the way.
Yeah, you're saying that now.
We'll see.
And then, yeah, our defense and goaltending has been solid. Heck yeah, Timmy. We talked about this last show. I mean, you bring Byram in, that pairing between him and Dahlin. Dahlin and Byram only played 20 minutes last night, right? They didn't play up to the 30-minute time frame.
I don't know. I was watching the game, and it seemed like they were out a lot, but maybe that was not the case.
I heard that on WGR this morning that they played only into like the low 20s. They didn't play the regular 30.
Rasmus Dahlin had 20 minutes and 32 seconds.
Yeah. And Byram had like the same amount too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, adding Byram, pairing because Power's been playing a lot better since he's come back of injury. And he's playing alongside Yoki Haru too. So he's been playing solid. And that bottom line, I mean, yeah, Clifton's been playing a lot better the second half of the season. And then Bryson. I mean, Bryson's just playing solid defense. He's not getting noticed. And that's the biggest thing. For Yoki Haru and Bryson and Clifton, just don't get noticed. And you're playing good defense.
Yeah.
That's it. That really is it. So, I mean, hats off to the defense the second half of the year. I don't know what got into you guys, but good on you.
Doge points out that Cinderella run for my pick, the Sabres, or Stanley Cup, or Florida's winning the Cup. So, yeah, one of those two is bound to happen. Either Sabres or the Panthers win. I don't see any other team winning. And as my dad actually points out, 6-2 score effect on front of end of back-to-backs. That's probably why you see more even spread of the defense because we're winning 6-2. Why play
That's true.
Dahlin for 30 minutes if you're playing Vancouver tomorrow?
So. I'm interested in what their time was playing with the Islanders then. How much ice time they had.
I do not know. Actually, I can find this out real quick.
Because, yeah, if it's a 4-0 win, then, I mean, they've been getting a lot of rest then, right?
You'd think, yeah. Although they didn't actually end up ahead until kind of late in the second, if I recall correctly, because that's when
true.
The first goal was Victor Olofsson opening it on the power play. They played only 23 minutes against against the Islanders, and then they had 25 against Detroit, in which actually Dahlin was a -4. So he kind of got bullied that game.
I mean, how much time was he out there for?
25 minutes.
Okay.
And they only had 4 goals, so they were all while Dahlin was on the ice.
Yeah.
I wonder, probably similar for Bowen, but
either way,
he was a -3.
That's fine. I mean, when you're the top pair of defense, it's hard to be a plus. I mean, plus 20 or whatever.
Yeah, especially on a -3 game, but whatever. Yeah. It happens.
No, it's fine. I'm fine with it. I have neither of those guys I have anything to complain about. They fit each other well. And then Doge also says HSBC Arena is old/beat. Now it's the Key Bank Center. It's gone from Key Bank to the Effin Center to from HSB Arena from Marine Midland Arena. Holy crap! I still can't say it nowadays. Marine Midland Arena. So yeah, it's like people calling Ralph Wilson Stadium. Well, now it's Highmark, the Ralph, and then people called it the Rich before that. So
yeah.
But yeah, I have actually been to a game in a while in the Key Bank Center. So I've heard that seats aren't great, especially in the 300 level. Yeah, I guess they're trying to make improvements to the team, to the arena, and then also.
We're getting that scoreboard and ceiling up grades. So obviously they're looking at the arena and saying, hey, something needs to be improved. But I think they missed the mark a little bit, and we did talk about that on a previous show.
Yeah. It's still blue. I'm saying that ceiling is still blue.
It's I spent a lot of time looking at it recently just to
really
see. Yeah, it's like robin egg color. So it is blue, but it's kind of a very light blue.
It matches the sky, you know.
Of course.
Cool. So yeah, I don't know. We can talk about leading into the next game. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, we mostly talked about what happened during the week, the 3 games, the loss to
Detroit,
and the Jeff Skinner hat trick are the most important things that I think happened during this week. So, yeah, I think we kind of covered most of it.
Cool.
There's some kind of stuff going on around the league that feels might be important. The the Red Wings have 6 minutes left. They're down to the Blue Jackets 3-2. The Maple Leafs are staging a comeback against the Flyers. They were down 3-0 going into the third, and there's 10 minutes left, and it's 2-3. The Devils are beating the Penguins 4-1. I don't really care how that one ends as long as it's not overtime.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes are beating the Islanders 3-0 going into the third period. And for now, that's what we got going on today. So it seems like things are kind of going favorably. You'd like to see the Flyers lose this game, obviously putting a lot on the Maple Leafs not to choke.
Yeah.
Because they've never choked.
Yeah. I mean, do I cheer for the Maple Leafs? I don't want to. I can't stand their fans.
But don't think about it as cheering for the Maple Leafs, but rather against the Flyers.
They don't really need the win anyways. They got 80 points. But just check standing again. Another case for the 3-2-1 point system. Boston, 15 overtime points they got.
Yeah.
And they lead the division in first place. That team is just destined to fail in the playoffs. And I can't wait for it. I can't wait for Boston to lose again. They're bragging, oh yeah, we're top of the conference. No, you're going to lose again because you're a joke. I don't care about your 2 number 1 goaltenders. You can't score. And when you can't score, you don't win. And that's all I'm going to say with the Boston Bruins. And also the Islanders, like we said last week, 15 overtime points.
Yeah. Well, they're losing again today, so hopefully we don't even have to worry about them. I don't think that they're going to be the wild card team.
So how many points? Okay, so Sabres with 33. Okay. Sabres would actually be 1 point out, I think, if we did the 3-2-1 point system. They'd be more competitive. That's all I'm saying.
Someone should tell Gary Bettman to adjust it before the end of the season.
Can you imagine mid-saying?
It was just like, hey, yeah, just so you guys know, we're actually changing up the way that it works before or like during the middle of the season. So
we're real calculating everything.
Yeah. Well, let us just readjust the points real quick. Yeah. I'm sure that would go over swimmingly.
So yeah, that was my little rant there. Before we go on to the game coming up tonight, your 3 stars, Sam.
It's kind of been an unremarkable week, but
yes, you can't use the one guy though.
I can't use the one guy?
You can't use UPL.
Why not?
I thought you said if one of his games go below a 900 save percentage.
No. You seem to have misinterpreted what I said. The original quote was, I'm going to keep giving him the 3 stars until that happens. And then it did. And last week I did not give him one of the 3 stars. But you know what he has this week? You know what he has this week?
What does he have?
2 wins, including a shutout.
All right.
So for my 3rd star, I got to pick Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. 3rd star, right. You know what?
I can't wait to hear what the number 1 and number 2 stars are.
My 2nd star, just because I've enjoyed watching him. I don't know that he's had a spectacular week, like numbers-wise, but someone I've just enjoyed watching this week has been Bowen Byram. The way that he skates, the way that he plays off of Dahlin, it's so much fun. Obviously, you can see the vision. You can see that this is the future of our defense, of the, just like the defense core. You got him, Dahlin, Power. Obviously, after that, people have talked about maybe moving Yoki Haru. It seems like he's been the odd one out. People have talked about Samuelson's future with us. But those 3 guys should be enough to carry you, at least carry your defensive core. So, been having a great time watching him. And then for my 1st star, because I seem to love to give it to people who we've picked on throughout the year, got to give it to Jeff Skinner and his ham trick during the Kraken game. Who are your 3 stars of the week?
My first star will always be UPL until he actually blows the game. So we got my first star of the week.
Okay.
My second star is Jeff Skinner.
Okay.
I mean, you come up with a ham trick, like you said, you gotta give it to him. And my third star, I think for the second week in a row, is Zach Benson. Just playing an overall solid game. I mean, I said, a very unremarkable week. I mean, Byram is a great choice for that. I mean, he probably would have got in my notables, but I'm going to give it to Benson again. I mean, he's still playing solid. He's kind of coming a little bit more hotter and it ends the season. So, I don't know. Besides that, really, no one else really stood out to me on the rest of the team, to be honest with you. Tage has had a couple of goals the past couple of games, but
he's looked better, honestly. Like the pace that he's playing at and kind of his release has looked much better than it did earlier in the season.
Yeah.
So I don't, maybe he miraculously recovered from that injury. Maybe there's not going to be an off-season surgery, or maybe he's just playing through it better because he's feeling the heat, the pressure right now. But
yeah, I mean, after a wrist injury, it's, you kind of expect like a down season from that guy. But when you said Samuelson, I gave him his little goodbye wave.
Yeah, you're not so high on Samuelson, eh?
I mean, we're gonna do 7 defense, or are we gonna do 8 defensemen at the beginning of next, or are we gonna be playing 7 defensemen at the beginning of next season again too? You're locked into Clifton.
Clifton is probably the easiest one to move. Actually, Jokiharju is probably the easiest one to move.
And I don't want him gone.
Yeah, he's just played well, just straight up. I have no complaints about how he's played. And he's not lighting up the score sheet. He's not doing anything super fancy. He's never going to pull the Dahlin moves or the Dahlin shot. He doesn't skate as well as Bowen Byram, but he seems to have a knack for shutting down things, and he's not a hindrance on offense like the way that Samuelson can be. So
he's just leaped. Yeah, he's developed significantly the past couple of seasons. So I don't want to get rid of a guy that's on an upward trajectory. We just got rid of a guy on an upward trajectory in Casey Middlestad. So you're seeing this guy build up to being better. So let's keep that guy. And the guy who's always injured and kind of plays slow, I mean, you can offload him somewhere.
Who's going to take his contract?
Nobody. Maybe the Arizona Coyotes. They like taking contracts like that.
That is a long contract, though.
6 more years?
Yeah, like 6, I think.
I mean, he can still contribute.
He's not. Listen, he's not a. Honestly, if he can sort out his game, for what his top end is, $4 million is a great deal for him. Actually,
yeah,
he can't stay healthy, and he's dealt with inconsistency this year. So that's why we're ganging up on him. But the theory of his contract is great. Currently, I don't think anyone would take it.
We're just beating up on him so he gets better next season. We already did that to Power. Yeah, we beat up on Power, and look at him now. He's playing so much better after his injury.
We beat up on Skinner. He gets his point getting together, and apparently he's fine at defense. We beat up on Thompson for looking like he can't shoot. He rips that absolute beauty of a shot over Decor, proving me wrong. We beat up on Benson earlier, looking like a few weeks ago, saying that he looked like maybe the season's catching up to him, and he's not playing as well as he was earlier. And all of a sudden, he's putting up points again in the last few games. We beat up on Luukkonen at the beginning of the season, saying that he probably is on his way out with Levi coming in.
I didn't have him making the team.
Yeah. And here he is, a bona fide number 1. So we just need to keep making fun of literally everyone.
I know, because we can't do the whole team thing. We've tried that. I've tried necking the whole entire team. They still just don't. They don't.
Week by week, we just have to get through every one of them, and then all of a sudden, we will have the best team in the league, and it won't even be close.
So you're saying next season we start off the preseason, we just dedicate an episode to every player, and we just attack them,
just like the weekly. It's just like the roast of ...
Exactly. And so then they're all ready at the game 1, and then they won't have to go down 2-0 in the first period to come alive. So
and you know what? That'll give us something to talk about over the offseason.
That's right. But now Mike said Sammy gets points for being able to say Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen name so well. He can't. So, Sam, hooked on phonics lesson right now from Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there is a video of Henri Jokiharju, a fellow Finn, saying Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen during the reading off of the lineup. And so it's mostly just mimicry, but he said it something to the effect of Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. And it's fun to say it like that anyway. Highly recommend it. Give it a shot. I'm sure there's going to be about 6 people in their homes right now just shouting Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and having family members a little bit concerned, maybe roommates, like what's going on in their room?
He's going insane right now. You could be like the Czech fans.
Exactly.
Or
it's an incredibly fun name to say. So,
or you could do it as Tage says, Uki Pookie. Uki Pookie.
Uki Pookie. You know what? It works. I have some friends who are kind of like peripherally aware of hockey, and they call him Ooga Booga. So just really any kind of double like U sounding words, you can go with.
That Ooga Booga sound reminds me of Crash Bandicoot video game.
I never actually played it, but I am familiar.
Never played Crash Bandicoot? Oh my god. All right. Well, Sam, that's your homework for next week. You're playing some Crash Bash. Just to refer to what I'm saying, I'm sure if Jake was watching, he knows Ooga Booga and I forgot what the name of the little mask guy that flies around is called. But yeah, that's what happens. But Mike gave out 3 stars, and we're always happy to let everyone else give out 3 stars. His 3 stars. UPL number 3. Okay. UPL's got 3 from Sam and Mike. All right.
He's in the 3rd slot. What can I say?
I guess when perfection is like the goal for you, you go below that, you get 3. So we got Krebs getting 2 and Skinner getting 1.
Okay, you can't go wrong with that. You know, Krebs has played, I think, substantially better down the stretch here. Obviously, the offense isn't necessarily coming for him. He did get a point in the Kraken game, I believe, and it was off a pretty nice assist. But you know, obviously, the offense hasn't necessarily been there. I think it's been it was Krebs, Greenway, Skinner.
That's right. Yeah,
and then it was Peterka, Cousins, and Benson. That's where Benson was. Sorry. Yeah. I was forgetting who the extra forward was, and it was Krebs. But yeah, so he looked good, and that line was great, obviously, with the ham trick happening. So yeah, and then Skinner getting the hat trick again. Love that for him. Your selections, I think, are great.
You get paid to score goals, Skinner. I know your defense is terrible, but you do get paid to score goals. That's why
he did that.
Yeah. Wish it was a little bit more this season, but I mean, the whole team's been down, as Don Granado says. So
again, it still might be a 30-goal season for him. That's crazy to me.
Do you think he can get there?
I don't know. You'd have to play more like yesterday than like the start of the season, but it's possible.
Because he's kind of consistent at the beginning of the season scoring goals. It was him and Peterka. Then he got his injury. Then he fell off. He went on a cold streak. And then this is like his coming back point at this. It feels like whenever Peterka kind of gets the goal lead, then Jeff Skinner's like, oh, my.
He has to be like, no. Let me take this.
Listen here, squirt. And then
you know what? Nothing wrong with a little internal competition.
That's right.
Probably quite healthy.
Yeah, I mean, more of the Sabres should do that. Anyways, Sam, leading into tonight's game, what are you looking for? What are your expectations for tonight?
So tonight you're coming off a back-to-back. You're on a road trip, which, you know, the late-night game's probably a little hard on these guys whose bedtime is like 9 o'clock anyway. They're just like you, Timmy. They're just like you. Gotta
get a late pregame nap. Dolly gets his pregame nap all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I was listening to, I think it was an interview with Benson, and he's like, like my bedtime's like 10 maybe, and that's like late or something for some of the guys. I'm like, okay, that's
late for me.
that's the hockey bedtime, you know. It is what it is. But so it's late for them. They're on the road trip, the back-to-back. I want to see them try and come out with just like energy to set their own pace. And then from there kind of control the pace of the game in a way that doesn't force them to have to skate a lot. In that way, kind of showing maturity in their game, which you need if you make the playoffs. You need to be able to kind of set the tempo and also control how much like your usage is. And I just want to see them play a mature game tonight. You're playing a backup goalie, so maybe kind of get your shooters on the board there. But a win would be great. But as I said earlier, I'm not necessarily expecting one during this game.
I kind of agree with that. Play competitive. I mean, I'm not expecting to win tonight. If you get a win, that's great. But play competitive. Look, like I've said multiple times this season, look like you care. That's all that matters. Don't have a Detroit falling out game. I mean, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 50 times, then I don't know. I got to throw myself into a loony bin. Anyway.
But before we move on to the next game, just have some updates. The Red Wings managed to clutch it up against the Blue Jackets, or maybe the Blue Jackets managed to choke. Either way, they won 4-3. The Islanders scored, making it 3-1. So they're maybe staging their own comeback. And the Maple Leafs got to 3 to tie the Flyers before losing the lead again. So it's now 4-3 with a minute left. So maybe not the greatest day for us, but
it's a pathetic race to the wild card spot.
Yeah, here we are in the worst wild card race of all time.
Yeah.
This just means it's more important to win our game tonight.
Yeah. So, all right, Sabres, change that. Play competitive, win this game.
Win the game.
You got Levi playing in that. It's been his first time playing in the NHL for a while. Play good defense, score goals.
Claw out a greasy one,
Pucks on net. Anyways, do you know who the leading points getter and goal scorer is for the Canucks? Or no? Who is the leading points getter is for the Canucks?
Is it Hughes?
No.
Is it
he
Pettersson?
Is third. No, he is
Miller.
second. Yes.
Okay.
I was kind of shocked that Miller leads the team in points with 87.
Yeah. I think Hughes started off really hot and he was their points lead for a while. I think he was tied for the NHL point lead. Yeah. For a second there. So
yeah, Quinn Hughes has 77 points. Pettersson has 79, and then JT Miller has 87 points.
The moral of the story is they're not having any trouble putting up points. So that's something you got to look out for. Hope they play well in front of Devin Levi.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy because they don't. I mean, I guess you can consider Quinn Hughes would you consider Quinn Hughes like a superstar, elite player?
This year? Yes. Before this, probably like very good, but not a superstar.
Okay. So it's kind of funny because even look like their leading goal scorer is Brock Besser. Yeah. He's another
former Islander.
Yeah. Interesting. Former Islander leading the Vancouver Canucks in goals. Anyways, that's it for that game. Besides that, the Sabres leading into our next scheduled show. Scheduled show. Well, a lot of S's there. Alliteration. We have Edmonton on Thursday, and then we have Calgary on Sunday. Sam, what do you expect out of those two games there?
Well, obviously, long road trip through Canada and just kind of the West Coast. Then you have facing both the Alberta teams. During those games, at that point, it's just probably playing like your season depends on it every night. At that point, we're going to see how some of these games finish up around the league tonight. And in the next couple of days, there's some big ones. Washington's got a game. And by then, we'll know whether or not our season really does depend on it. And so, yeah, I just kind of want to see us play like there might not be a tomorrow for our team, because there might not be a tomorrow for our team.
There you go.
Also, shout out to Tom. 5 gifted memberships. So Thank you so much for supporting the channel, as you always do, Tom. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and congratulations on the big W with the Big Stitch embroidery. I mean, Tom, if you're still on here, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to get embroidered?
I think he posted some pictures. I think he posted some chicken wing hats.
Okay.
So, like Bill's chicken wing hats.
I mean, I guess I got to be on the Discord more.
Yeah, you're not checking the Discord. You're not checking the comments. Come on. What's up? What's up, Timmy? Come on. Engage your community some more.
My hand's red. Am I guilty?
Yes, you're so guilty.
I'll do better.
This is the community that you are a part of, that you should be trying to cultivate this as the creator of the channel.
Yeah, I should be better. I mean, kind of shows my fantasy football season with the dynasty league that we have on here too. I think I set my lineup once. Oh, wow. All right. Well, Sam, I have the same feelings for the next two games. Well, your season's on the line. Play like it matters. You're going to be going on the West Coast trip, and that's me finishing up in Calgary. And then you come back and you get 2 days off, and then you face Ottawa on the Wednesday, the 27th. So you should be well rested for the Ottawa game. So, and I mean, it's Ottawa. Let's be honest here.
Hey, you cannot be too complacent. That's not a good place to be at. Don't look at that Ottawa game and be like, that's a free win.
That's trap game, Sabres. You're definitely going to lose that game. So you guys better come to play, or I don't know. That's what I'm going to say.
Listen, you're getting off the end of a very difficult Western road trip. You get back, you have a few days off, and you're facing Ottawa, a team you should beat. That is actually classic trap game material.
Yes, exactly. So,
if we're still in the running at that time.
Oh, Sam saying if.
Listen, I would love to be able to say, like, next week, get on this podcast with you guys and have us be still very in the running. But there is still always that reality, right? Like, it could go very south very quickly, and I don't think it will, but that is a possibility at this point in the season.
So that means, will you start growing your playoff push beard?
If you think I can grow a beard, you're just entirely wrong anyway. But if the Sabres make the playoffs, then I'll start growing the beard. But you won't see it because I'll be wearing a bag anyway. Look, it's right there.
That's true. Yeah.
There.
The bag's still there. It's our third co-host, the bag.
Our third co-host, the bag. He's got the hat on. He's got the gloves. He's looking stylish tonight. Doge
wants some March Madness predictions. Have you been paying attention to college basketball?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Doge. I cannot help you out on this one. I do not watch college basketball.
I think it's just UConn, Doge. UConn all the way. I mean, they're just going to win
UConn for the win. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't paid a whole lot, but I know UConn's hot coming into this. So they're the number 1 seed. Anyways, Doge, first time visiting us. Appreciate you being in the chat and showing up. Everyone, Mike, Sam's dad, showing up to the chat as well. We all appreciate everyone, and Tom for gifting those 5 Nickel City Mafia memberships. Appreciate all of you being involved in the chat, watching the show, commenting, which I will look at the comments this week.
That's fine. I'll bring them up to you. It's fine.
Will I reply to those comments? Probably not. I'll give you a nice little like when I'm on there. I just don't like seeing my face on the screen or listening to my own voice, so I have to mute my phone. It's a whole process. And then, if you're not, subscribe and like the show and join our Discords, even though the drawing is over with. Like Sam said, Sam talks a lot about Sabres hockey on there. And I'm going to join in myself, too. I'll get involved a little bit more as well. So appreciate all of you. Thank you for coming on. I think we have one more new comment down there.
Bag or stash? Why not both?
I mean, I'll shave it for the stash, too, if we need to do a stash. I kind of liking my beard right now. But yeah, Tom, once again, appreciate you. Appreciate everyone. Have a good night, everyone. See you next week.
All right, we're handing it off to you, Marty and Duffer.